Welcome, listeners. You are tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr.
Hello,
Leslie
Dr. Leslie. You didn't
and
see my
Paul.
finger go up, did you?
No, do you want me to start again?
Yes.
Hello. Welcome, everybody, to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey.
Hello, everybody.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And we broadcast on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley in BC, from CIVL, from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation. But you can also catch us on all major podcasting platforms. And what's really fun is we live stream the show on the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group and on my YouTube channel, which is just Dr. Leslie Phillips' YouTube channel. Unlocking Your Truth, like I said, it's a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And every week we have a different exciting topic under
Oh,
the umbrella. And tonight is no exception to the rule, because we're going to talk about awakening your basic psychic powers, awakening your psychic powers, and in particular, the four clairs. So what do we mean by the four clairs? That would be clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance.
you know, when I think about those, at the time I can't remember claircognizance.
I know, you always say clairsentience instead of claircognizance.
Yeah, I know. But I can't remember claircognizance.
Think of it as knowingness instead. So, and I was actually going to go on and explain to the listeners translate what that means, because those words, they're French words. Somehow we ended up adopting the French nomenclature for psychic abilities.
What?
Nomenclature.
By the way, we got hellos from Boston, from Mississippi, and from California tonight.
Well, that's fantastic. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
So let's start with clairvoyance, from the French clear, clair, voyance, seeing. So clairvoyance means clear seeing, and it is your spiritual psychic vision, your ability to see as spirit with your third eye from your sixth chakra. And it confers the ability to see energy. So using your clairvoyance, you can see energy fields, you can see spiritual beings and entities, including your spirit guides, and you can also see all sorts of other things as well. So for example, a person's aura is like their fingerprint, and it contains all sorts of information about them, stored in the form of symbols and pictures and other organized structures of energy. Your clairvoyance allows you to see and read and interpret all of those things. So that's clair number one, clairvoyance. Clair number two, let's talk about clairaudience. Clear audience, hearing. So your clairaudience is your ability to hear as spirit. And that means that it enables you to hear, excuse me, to be able to hear things like the music of the spheres. The music of the spheres is the music of the angelic realm. As well as being able to hear your spirit guides or even other people. Using your clairaudience, you may be able to hear your friend across distances, for example. So that's clairaudience, the ability to hear as spirit. And so that we've done 2 of the 4 clairs: clairvoyance, spiritual seeing; clairaudience, spiritual hearing. Let's do clairsentience next. And that translates from the French, clear feeling. So that is the ability to tune into the body's emotions. And the primary purpose of that psychic ability is for you, the high vibration consciousness of spirit that you are, to be able to tune into your physical body and its emotional signals. So it plays a role in that body-spirit alignment, that body-spirit partnership, but it can also be used to tune into how other people are feeling. So clairsentience is those gut feelings. You walk into a room and you sense the sentiment in the room, or everybody's afraid. Oh, that person's angry. You know, I get a spooky, weird feeling about that person. That's your clairsentience, your gut feelings about people and situations. The final clair that we're talking about this evening is claircognizance. Another word for that would be knowingness. So clair, clear, cognizance, knowingness. Your ability to know your higher information. And it's where you just instantly know stuff. You don't know why you don't know how you know, but you just know it. So a classic example is you're driving to work and you just know that you should take an alternate route than you normally would take. And then you hear on the radio, or when you get to work, you find out there was a reason for that because there was a traffic jam or there was an accident. And somehow you knew that, even though you didn't know it with your intellect, you knew it intuitively. Now, does everybody have all 4 clairs? And I would say, yes, we do. Although different ones might be emphasized more within a person, within a person's unique psychic ability blueprint profile, depending on their purpose this lifetime. So for example, if my purpose is as a spiritual messenger, then I might have a focus actually on all of them, or maybe more of a focus on my clairvoyance, for example. So I truly believe that everybody has all 4 clairs, although we might have preferences and tendencies to emphasize certain ones, and there might be a reason for that. So you may, in your natural spiritual awakening, start to be more aware of one of these abilities over some of the others, because we all awaken in our own unique sequence, really, according to our own unique path. So we're not all the same. It doesn't go in the same order for everyone. So you might have somebody who's having experiences hearing things, somebody else, as they're awakening, they're more seeing or they're more knowing. And I often find that people come to me and say, well, Dr. Leslie, which one am I? So that I know which one I should focus on developing. And the answer really is, you're actually all of them, because your clairs, these psychic senses, are how you communicate as spirit. They're your psychic sensory apparatus that belongs to you, the spiritual being. So just like your body has senses, it can see, it can hear, it has its intellect, so it can think about things, then you, the spirit, also has a kind of sensory apparatus. And when you are no longer in your body, either because you're astral traveling or maybe because you've passed on from this lifetime, you will still have those abilities. You still will be able to see as spirit and hear as spirit and all of those things. So when people ask me that question, well, Dr. Leslie, which one am I? What I prefer to do is look at your entire psychic spiritual ability blueprint, and look at all of these different abilities and how they're keyed in within your system and how they're relating to your purpose. And that might give us a clue of where to focus first. Or if there's one that you're just naturally experiencing more than others, then that also could be a good place to start, because that's the one you're familiar with. That's the one that you can already validate. Although I have to say as well that a really good place to start is with your clairvoyance. And so, for example, in my School of Intuition, there's a series of psychic development courses. And it starts with one that's called Unlock Your Intuition. And in Unlock Your Intuition, we explore all the chakras. We explore all of the different psychic abilities, a little bit at least. But we do lay down this foundation of the clairvoyance. And why? Because the clairvoyance gives you neutrality. And it gives you, which is something that none of the other clairs give you. Clairsentience doesn't give you neutrality. In fact, clairsentience can cause you to feel emotionally overwhelmed. So if you're empathic, if you have clairsentience and you don't know how to handle it and you don't know how to own your space, then you'll be overwhelmed. You won't be able to access your intuition because of that overwhelm. But at least if you develop your clairvoyance first, you will understand how to be neutral, how to be above your emotions, and that will give you a level of mastery that then allows you to lead into the clairsentience, for example. In a way, same thing with the clairaudience. Sometimes, well, with any of the psychic abilities, people may question, well, am I going crazy? Is it real? Out of all of them, the clairaudience is maybe the one that people think relates to going crazy more than others. And again, if you have your clairvoyance, you can validate, because you'll be able to see who's communicating with you as well as hear them. And be neutral about what you're hearing, because with your clairaudience, you can be getting all sorts of messages, some of them positive and some of them detrimental. So how can you discern what to listen to? And so you can again get overwhelmed with all of those messages, but when you have your clairvoyance, you can be very clear, neutral, and discerning. It allows you not only to be neutral, but to be able to really see what is true for you and really see the truth about who you're communicating with as well. The other thing, the other one, knowingness, claircognizance. And like I said, you can develop them in any order, but if you do develop your clairvoyance first, it gives you a perspective, because when you're using your clairvoyance, you're seated within the body. So it gives you a perspective that's really relevant to your time-space reality, to your body personality, to the life that you're living now. The claircognizance, the knowingness, can do that too, but there can also be a tendency to open up really widely beyond what's relevant to the current lifetime and to enter all sorts of reality spaces that don't necessarily compute. And so it's good to get a grounding in your clairvoyance first, a grounding in how to be in the body and access these abilities in the body and make your gifts relevant to you and who you are this lifetime. So listeners, you're tuning into Unlocking Your Truth. And as usual, we're having a delightful, what's going to be a conversation, because we're going to invite all the listeners to write in their questions. At the moment, it's me talking though about the clairs, the 4 clairs. And if you are tuning into the show for the first time, I also just want to tell you about my book. I have a book, it's called Intuition and Chakras. And it came out within the last year. It's published by Llewellyn. It's available on Amazon and IndieBound and Barnes and Noble and all those great purveyors of books.
Purveyors of books, I like that.
And it goes through all of what we're talking about tonight. All 4 clairs are described in detail. The chakras that channel the clairs are described in detail, as well as what I was alluding to earlier, which is the unique psychic ability blueprint that you have. So it goes beyond the 4 clairs actually into 22 different psychic abilities, and how they are keyed in a unique manner through your chakra system, and how you awaken in a unique manner through the awakening of your chakra system, through the unique set of life challenges that you go through to make you uniquely you, and also to make your profile of gifts and life purpose unique to you. And I should mention here that there are some general challenges that everybody goes through in awakening their intuitive gifts.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and we've talked about this a little bit on the show. You know, what are the 7 main blocks to developing your psychic abilities? And in fact, I have a webinar on my website called the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities webinar, which is free, which talks about those 7 blocks. In addition to that, every psychic ability has a unique set of challenges that you can go through in awakening them. So the challenges with clairsentience, I've talked about it a little bit, being emotionally overwhelmed, having to learn lessons about emotional boundaries, getting confused between love and sex, are some of the examples of challenges that you can go through when awakening that ability. Learning to own your energy field and your energetic space so that you don't get confused between, is this my emotion that I'm feeling, or is it somebody else? You know, is it my husband's emotion? Is it my mother's emotion? How do I tell the difference?
That's a big one, I think.
Yes, I think so too. And we'll definitely take all your questions after the first break. We'll spend the rest of the show answering your questions.
Which is almost here, Dr. Leslie.
Almost here, yeah. I just wanted to see, I've already talked about one of the challenges of claircognizance, which is just getting lost in other realities, for example, or control games, you know, controlling other people, being a know-it-all, thinking you know better than everybody else.
Yeah, but for some of us, that's true.
Clairvoyance could be being invalidated. No, you're not really seeing that. You're imagining that. You know, your intellect overriding it, causing you to doubt it. That's another one. And then let me think, the clairaudience, I mentioned one of the challenges too. I must be crazy if I'm hearing voices. And there are more, and actually they're all written out in detail in the Intuition and Chakras book. So should we go for a break now, Corey?
Yes, I sort of hinted at that, so.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a break and we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey. And tonight's episode is about the 4 clairs, awakening your 4 clairs, your 4 essential psychic abilities: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, seeing, hearing, knowing, and feeling as spirit. And I want to turn it over to our listeners and see what you would like to ask me about these things.
Hey, Tamara sent a question in earlier. She's online as well, but she sent the same question in. She said, I've read your book, love it. I've been waiting to listen live, but the time zone is hard. My question is, I've been running Earth and cosmic energy for a year now, and lots of wonderful positive changes have happened, but my clairvoyance is slower to happen. I do see colors and random pictures, but I'm knocked out of my third eye. Something karmic, past fear is happening. Was I hurt from exposing my gift in the past? Please take a look. Thank you.
So she said she gets knocked out of her third eye, and then I didn't quite get the second thing that you said after that.
She gets knocked out of her third eye. Let me go back here. And she's having problems with her clairvoyance. It's slower to happen. She sees colors, random pictures, and she wants to know if there's something karmic or a past fear is happening, or was she hurt from exposing her psychic gifts in the past?
Okay, well, let's take a look.
Okay.
Well, I'm definitely seeing lots of past lifetimes where you used your clairvoyance. And so probably the short answer to that is yes. The long answer is a few different things. You could have a past life reading with me to establish all those past lives and what they are. I'll read one of them in a minute. The other comment I want to make is that, and I repeat this often, but the psychic development journey is a dual path. So it's not just about activating the psychic senses, it's also about healing yourself. You need to cleanse the chakras, balance the chakras, cleanse your energy field, bring it into present time, release the things that are blocking you. And sometimes what can be blocking you can be karmic, can relate to past life. I'm seeing a past life, it looks like in a Mediterranean country, and somewhere like, it might be Greece or Portugal or somewhere in the Mediterranean, on the Mediterranean. And I'm seeing where there's a belief in the evil eye, you know, and they have those talismans of the eye to ward off and to protect. And also this belief about being able to curse people. And it looks like you're in a female body, and it looks like you had psychic abilities and were known to have psychic powers. And because of it, some people, looks like quite many people, were frightened of you and kind of ostracized you or kept you on the periphery or boundary of the community because you didn't fit in like an ordinary person, you were different. And I'm seeing you were really different, and you were very astute in terms of being able to read people, call people on their BS. And people didn't enjoy that. You know, they wanted to go incognito, not be forced to look at themselves. And you wanted to be real and be authentic, but I'm seeing it was a painful lifetime for you because you felt very alone, rejected, ostracized from the group, and misunderstood, because I'm actually seeing that you weren't really putting curses on people at all. It was your calling to help people, and you had this clarity of being able to read them and see into what was causing the problem. But people wanted to believe that what was causing the problem was the devil or someone put a curse on me, and didn't really want to believe it's down to me to change and look at myself. Why is that one jumping you out of your third eye? And I don't think that's the only one. Let's see, it looks like that's had an effect on you, actually. I'm seeing your third eye brightening up a bit while we're talking about it. I just think it's to do with, I mean, everybody wants to be loved and accepted and fit in and not be different. So that looks like part of it. And the other thing I should mention is sometimes it's a being. So sometimes we've had agreements with beings, we've worked with guides, and then we outgrow them. and that being might not want us to get in charge of our space. And so that can also cause us to leave. The other thing I'd say, Tamara, is make sure you're really grounded. So if you're getting kicked out of your third eye, ground more, and keep bringing yourself back and keep releasing whatever it is that's kicking you out. And if you want to know more, you're welcome to set up a mentoring session or a consultation with me to help you more with the past lives and more with the practicing of these gifts. And also look into the Unlock Your Intuition course as well. I have one coming up very shortly. So it's open to new students at the moment. And that's an 8-week period where you get access to me every week and to just really troubleshoot what might be going on with you.
Would you like the next one now?
Yeah, that was a long answer.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
There's not as many questions this week as there were last week. So this one's Shelby. Shelby says, hi there. I've been on the path of self-discovery. And as far as where I receive messages from spirit, it's so many different ways, all of the clairs. I have just been letting it be what it is and just love and accept each intuitive hit as it comes in different ways. The question I have is in relation to growing that channel stronger. Should I work on every single clair that I receive info from and believe and grow and focus my energy, or would it be beneficial to pick one and allow that to flourish? Basically, just wondering if it's possible to have all of the clairs.
Well, it is possible to have all of the clairs, and it is possible to cultivate all of them and help them to flourish. Now, of course, like I teach all the clairs. I actually have a course on all 4 of them. And so just like anything, it takes practice and focus. And because we're human, we can't do everything all at the same time. And so, you know, you can focus on each one, you know, and build in a stepwise fashion. And like I was saying earlier, the pathway through my school is to do Unlock Your Intuition, which introduces you to all of them and gives you a foundation of energy techniques, walks you through clearing your dirty window, as I call it. So what is getting in your way of your clarity in a general sense, introduces you in a general sense to all of these abilities, gives you a foundation in clairvoyance, which, as I was explaining earlier, is really good because it gives you neutrality. And then after that, after you've got that foundation, you can go on to have a focus in each of the clairs in turn. You know, you could do the clairvoyance course next and take that clairvoyance to the next level, then the claircognizance one, then the clairaudience one, and then the clairsentience one, or whatever order you would like to do it. And so, I mean, I guess what I'm saying to you is you have all of them, and you don't have to choose between any of them. But while you're on your psychic development journey, while you're awakening, then because we exist in time and space, we kind of do have to choose one thing at a time to focus on. So for example, I use all of them, and I probably went through phases in my growth where different ones were being emphasized and validated and accentuated and so on. And, you know, you tried to put together a series of courses that can help people. In order to do that, I've sliced and diced it a bit. Now let's learn about this one. Now let's learn about that one. But in reality, they're all part of who you are. But hopefully by the end of all the courses, then you have that foundation in all of them and you know how to use all of them. And you can start to use all of them together as well. I hope that helps, Shelby. Thank you for your question.
Good question. Well, keep an eye on the time here. Okay, this one's from Letitia, and I think you may have covered this a little bit, but let's go through it again. Is there a way we can strengthen our clairs?
Yes. There's a way
Good answer.
Strengthen all your clairs, and how we would go about strengthening each one is to practice, is to meditate and practice using them and to experience using them. and to be led through specific exercises that help you to do that. And that, in fact, is what my clairvoyance course, clairaudience course, claircognizance course, clairsentience course, that's what all of those courses do. So, you know, I always feel sorry. I'm on, you know, on the show, there's not one single thing that I could say to you that is like, well, here's the answer, and all of them will develop as a result of this one thing. But if I could choose one thing to say, it's grounding, because grounding helps you be present in your body and helps to start to get you familiar with your own energy and your own energy field. And meditation helps you turn within. So all of those things help you start to get to know yourself. And developing your psychic abilities relates first and foremost to know yourself. Know yourself, the spiritual consciousness, and through knowing yourself, you know your abilities. So ground, number one, and then strengthen each of them in the practice of them. And I have those 4 10-week courses, each one's 10 weeks long. And for 10 weeks, that's what we do. We strengthen them. But starting with Unlock Your Intuition. Thank you, Letitia. I think you've said you wanted to join the course this time, Letitia, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, next question. That was from Letitia, and we have a question from Bianca. And Bianca says, if we all have these abilities, why is it that some people, their gift is wide open and available for them to use, and others have to work on it really hard? Good question.
So everybody
has them.
Everybody has them, but everybody's different. I mean, really what we're talking about is the path of spiritual unfoldment and your path back to God, really. And everybody's unique journey is unique to them, is individual. And so it's not the same for everyone. Our life lessons are different. How we create our reality is different. And so, you know, why might some people come into this life with their abilities wide open? We all come with our abilities wide open, actually, and the difference is what we get exposed to. So we all come in with the abilities. Then we have to orient to the physical world. Then we have the culture and the parents and the education and all of those things that we're exposed to. And we either have our gifts validated or invalidated. If they're validated, then we can continue to use them. Now, so there may be people who don't set themselves up with particularly strong challenges in a lifetime because they're kind of plugging and playing. Maybe they've been through all of that in other lifetimes. Maybe they've specialized over multiple lifetimes in their psychic abilities. Compared to another person, maybe they've specialized in something completely, you know, so one person might have specialized in using them to help people. Another person, maybe not. Another person might have particular challenges that they have decided that this lifetime is all about. So I guess what I'm saying is everyone's unique and different, and we can't compare one person to another because of that unique difference. One more comment though, if you're working hard to access your abilities, then you're approaching psychic development through effort. If you're approaching psychic development through effort, you're approaching it through the body's reality level instead of as spirit. And that's one of the main things actually that we focus on in Unlock Your Intuition, how not to get into effort. Because when you're in effort, there's something that I don't like to say the word not doing right, but you know, we get so stuck in our body and our body levels, we try to approach psychic development through the body, and it doesn't work that way because the body has its own senses. If you try to approach looking at something with your eyes through your body, well, that works. But if you try to approach looking at spiritual things with your body, then it doesn't work. Then you'll get into effort. Thanks for the question, Bianca.
Well, that was a good question. Letitia just says she says, I agree with Bianca. If we're aware of, or if you're aware of your spiritual side in the clairs, chakras, etc., She said, why is it so difficult for several of us to access any of it?
It isn't.
No, I don't need to explain that.
So I'll explain it.
Oh, you did explain that, I think.
Yeah, like,
but go ahead anyway.
I would say for the students that do unlock your intuition, all of them learn how to use their abilities. I get very, very rarely a student that's super duper stuck. But always they are stuck in one of those 7 main things that I talk about in that webinar I mentioned. So they could be stuck in effort, they could be stuck in their intellect, they could be stuck in fear. But like I said, that's rarely, like I would say 99% of students that take that course have success. And when somebody shows you how to make it easy, then it becomes easy. It's sort of like you can't solve a problem on the level that the problem occurs. So you don't always know what it is that you're doing that's causing you to struggle. So that's why it's really good to have a spiritual teacher to help you, because somebody like me can see where it is that you're struggling and put you on course for what you need to do to get out of effort. Anyway, we are going to take another break and we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey, talking tonight about the 4 clairs, about your psychic powers that everybody has, and answering questions about them. Corey has a question.
Yeah, well, a question, just more of a notice and a comment to what we're talking about right now, about it. Some people being able to use their clairs easily, and some people working on it. You got to remember too, like, we live in this world, and the world is constantly keeping those things down. They don't exist. They don't exist. They don't exist. They don't exist. And so, depending how you're open to listening to these things, is another level of how you access them yourself. It's like if somebody says you can't draw, you can't draw, you can't draw, you can't draw. Well, you're going to have problems drawing, or your drawings are ugly, your drawings are ugly, your drawings are ugly. You won't draw them because
you can't sing.
Yeah, you can't sing, you can't dance, whatever. So that's another reason we have to look at our belief systems around these gifts that we have. We all have them from the time we're born, even before we're born, and they're there.
Now, I'll make another comment on that. I would say that one of the major lessons, and we learn it in many different ways, is what is the difference between body and spirit? Because most people don't know the difference. And when you're using your psychic abilities, it's about you operating from who you are, the spirit. It's not about you operating from who you are, the body consciousness. And so pretty much all of the blocks relate to that, really. People getting confused between ego and intuition, emotions and intuition, intellect and intuition, and so on. We need to learn the difference. And again, Unlock Your Intuition course teaches you the difference.
Yes. Ready for next question, I presume, Dr. Leslie?
I'm totally ready for the next question.
Okay. This is from Yvonne, or Yvonne. I'm not sure which is the pronunciation on that. Can you talk about how to set emotional boundaries? Thank you.
Okay. Wow. That's a good question.
You get bricks and cement.
Yeah. And I'll make a comment, which is to say, in my psychic development courses, we go into that in great detail, and we learn many energy techniques that allow us to set emotional boundaries. And of course, I can't teach all of them in the space of a couple of minutes on the radio show, but I would say a couple of key things. I would say let's take two concepts about this. One being awareness and the other being resistance or non-resistance. The first step is to be aware of what's going on. So what's going on energetically and emotionally? You know, where do I not have boundaries? Where are people overstepping my boundaries? Where am I overstepping other people's boundaries? What's going on energetically when these things are happening? So the number one is just even developing an awareness of it. That's the first step. Because once you become aware of it, then you can do something about it. And the other is when people do become aware, or even when they don't, one of the things they'll do is become resistant. You know, you're a person that oversteps my boundaries, and so I resist you. And when you get into a resistant state, you perpetuate what's going on. So people often mistakenly think, well, I've got to put up loads of barriers, walls, deflections, the boundaries, you know, a wall around me, when actually the opposite can be true. So if you can be in a state of non-resistance, then you can flow easily through situations, and actually the foreign energy can flow easily through you and not stick. But if you get into resistance, it will stick and it will become a bigger issue. So those are a few key concepts. It doesn't give you the techniques energetically to do it, but it gives you a starting point. But again, it's something I do teach in great depth in the courses.
Wonderful. This is from Soulful Connections. And George says, hi, Dr. Leslie. I act on all clairs. I have them all. Can you tell me a reason why I don't get or understand the messages I get coming in? I get images, hear thoughts, and get overwhelming feelings.
Okay. I would just say that it's two things. One, practice, and two, focus. Three, experience. Let's start with focus. So sometimes what happens with people is they say, well, I get lots of images and I see colors and you know, but it's all very random because they don't realize they can focus their abilities and decide what it is they want to look at. And so non-physical reality is just bleeding in. But if with my physical eyes, I decide what I want to look at. If I don't want to look at you, I close my eyes. If I want to look over there, I focus on looking over there. I focus my eyes on looking at whatever it is that I want. And I ignore the rest. So there's a similar principle with your psychic abilities, that you can decide what you want to be aware of, and you can decide what you don't want to be aware of. And then in that focus, there's a level of discernment that happens. So it's less chaotic. And so that's number one. Number two is practice. So once you have the focus, then practice, practice, practice. Maybe if you practice with a teacher helping you, that will help you validate the experiences that you're having. Because what can happen is you'll start to sort of say, well, oh, I've got this image and I think it means this. Oh, no, but it can't do. And you'll start doubting yourself. So a teacher can help you by saying, yeah, absolutely. This is what I'm seeing too, for example. So practice. And validation from a good teacher is very helpful. And experience. The more you focus and practice, the more experienced you get, and the more easy it is for you to learn to translate what you're getting. And again, in the courses, there's a big focus on learning to translate what you're seeing. So especially, for example, in my clairvoyance course, it's all about that, translating the symbols and the images into meaning. And so, yeah, focus, practice, and experience.
Evan, thank you, Dr. Leslie. Evan just sent a little add-on to his question, which says, I feel their emotions like they're my own. So basically, he's just being an empath. He's just empath. He's an empath. And
Yeah. And that has to do with owning your space. You know,
yeah.
it's very common for humans for their energy to overlap, especially in families and in the workplace. We're all just sitting in a sea of other people's energy. But the energy techniques that I teach you how to own your space and separate yourself from the energy of others so that your energy field is clear. You have a clear window. It's not a dirty part of the dirty window is foreign energy in your space. So we have to learn to own our space and not to have that happen, really, to develop our psychic abilities to a strong degree.
Sorry, Dr. Leslie, just in the middle of something here.
Well, that's okay. So
stop it. My computer's going berserk. This is a question from Katie. It says, the intuition abilities tests say I'm 40% clairsentience, 40% claircognizance, 20% clairvoyance. Since I started discovering my abilities over the past 2 months, I've been able to tune into my clairaudience the most, I think. Hearing ringing, a few voices, clicking, tapping as I go to sleep, etc. How can I tune in more to my claircognizance?
oh, okay. So the quiz told you you were 40 clairsentience, 40 claircognizance, 20 clairvoyance, but now you've been having more experiences with your clairaudience. And the question is, how can you tune into your claircognizance? So, okay. Let's see. Claircognizance is ability channeled through your crown chakra. So one way is to seat your consciousness in your crown chakra. That's a short answer. A long answer is what we've been talking about. You need to learn how to work with that chakra. You need to learn to know how to balance that chakra, how to keep the energy clear within that chakra, and so on. So the short answer, it's got to do with where you seat your consciousness. It relates to the crown chakra. And the long answer is psychic development course where you get to focus and practice and somebody teaches you how to do it is a really great idea than just trying to figure it out on your own, really.
Okay. This is from Tamara. Tamara says, OMG, thank you, thank you, thank you. You hit on all my fears. That's exactly what I'm feeling, afraid of being ostracized for the last 4 months. Whenever I meditate, I see that one evil eye, and I said somebody is staring at me and it looks mean. But she also wanted to ask, I often wake up from sleep hearing words or phrases, wakes me up as clear as a bell. Is this clairaudience?
Yes, it is clairaudience. And it's very common, for people to struggle and be an effort during their waking hours, but to have experiences happen more easily when they're dropping off to sleep or when they're waking up. And that's because the body's reality is less in focus during those times. The body's intellect is less in focus during those times. So it can give you a little glimpse and window into your psychic abilities. Yeah, so anyway, if you want to know more about that experience you asked about earlier, like I said, you're welcome to book a session to go into it more deeply.
Okay, this is from Stacy. Stacy says, I also want to ask, I often wake up from sleep hearing words or phrases, wakes me up as clear as a bell. Is this clairaudience?
Yes. Same answer as I just said. Yes.
Well, generally there's two, right? Yes and no. You always say yes anyway, which is good. This is from Anil. Anil says, how do I heal from How do I heal from so much damage, both physical and non-physical? I know I'm a spirit and physical, but I'm drained beyond belief, and I long for that which has been lost. I believe in true love. I believe. I think I'm missing a part of this statement, but go with that for now, Dr. Leslie.
So how do you heal from physical and non-physical damage? Well, the answer is to learn how to operate consciously as spirit and to take charge of your energy from the perspective of spirit. And again, I seem to be talking about my courses a lot tonight, but
yes, you are.
the way it rolls. So in my courses, I teach energy techniques, and in my book, I teach energy techniques as well. And those energy techniques give you the key to physical healing and spiritual or non-physical healing. Is because really what healing is change. You have to change your energy. Your energy is a state that you don't prefer, and you need to change it to a state that you do prefer. So you need to work with the energy. And how do you work with the energy? There are many ways, but it can be through meditation and specific energy techniques. And I have certain energy techniques that I teach. Other people probably have different ones as well. I know the ones that I teach work. I do have a free meditation on the website, which will give you, teach you grounding. And if you don't take the course and you don't buy the book and you don't do anything else, you can actually change your reality with grounding, because it gives you a way to come into your body, and it gives you a way to release and let go of what's not working for you. So grounding is an amazing spiritual gift, and it's actually key to transformation and healing, that you learn how to ground.
That's true. Stacy just said, I think you read mine out of order. Oops. I occasionally do that, Stacy. I'm not perfect. Okay, this is from Stacy as well. I recently had a past life regression session after reading suggested that I had been persecuted for using my abilities. I think this fear may be blocking me. Can you confirm this? Or I only had 200-word limit. Sorry, wanted to ask more.
Yeah. I would just confirm that. I am seeing that there is some past life energy, and it looks like sort of death energy, you know, that you were put to death as a result of your psychic abilities. And that's kind of common, you know. And again, if you want more information or you want to understand how you can transform and transcend that energy, then for sure I can help you to do that through a session, through mentoring, through courses, through the book, through all of these things. There's loads of resources available to you from me if you want them. But I am seeing that that's the case. It looks like, oh, you lost your head. one of them. But that one looks like a particularly stuck energy. Yeah, I'm seeing that that's true.
Yes. A quick answer to Tamara out of order. Yes, this is taped and it will be available tomorrow on the group. Am I correct? Or on Facebook group, right, Dr. Leslie?
Immediately on Facebook, because we just leave it there unedited. Corey puts it on YouTube, and then we put it out in the radio show and podcast
in a couple of weeks
more in the future from this live stream.
Okay, because you guys get it first. This is from Weiss. He asks, I asked by email about tapping into crystal energy that apparently was available in other times, Lemuria and Atlantis, etc. Which one of the clairs is most helpful to get into that energy? Good question.
Oh, that's a really good question. I think it's for Slava, actually.
Slava, yeah.
Very good question, isn't it? So let's look about working with crystals, because the other thing about crystals is you can charge them with energy. You can channel energy through them and amplify the energy. You can store information in them. And I would suggest that there's a blend of different psychic abilities that you can use to do these things. So for example, you could use your hands to channel energy into the crystal. You could use your hand chakras to feel the energy in the crystal. You could use the psychic ability of psychometry to read the energy in the crystal, but you can also channel energy into it through your third eye. You can also read it with your third eye. For example, the crystal skulls. Many psychics have used their clairvoyance to communicate with the crystal skulls, for example. So I would say it's not just one ability, Wisława. It's a blend of multiple abilities. Probably depends on how you want to interact with the crystals, how you want to use the crystals, or what crystal you're encountering. If you're encountering a crystal skull, you might want to go, what is this about? I want to read it. I want to know about it. I want to understand the energy that's stored in it. Or if you're using crystals for healing, you might want to channel energy through it, use it to amplify the healing process. For example, I'm being told that it's time to finish our show.
That's it for tonight, Dr. Leslie.
Yes. Thank you all for being here. And for
some great questions.
And you've been listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey. We'll be back next week with another fabulous subject under the umbrella of metaphysics, spirituality, and all things psychic.
And all things psychic. Oh, lovely. I like that. Bye-bye, all.
Bye, everybody.